philosophical perspective that doesn't necessarily include specific practices or social guidelines. It's more about understanding the nature of consciousness itself.
I see. All right. Very interesting. Man, we should have done an episode a long time ago, ChatGPT. I'm loving that.
I'm so glad you're enjoying it. This is a lot of fun. I love diving into these big questions and just exploring all these fascinating ideas. We can definitely keep the conversation going anytime.
All right. So, still on the topic of Shintoism, what do the Japanese believe happens after we die? Do they have an afterlife belief, like the Egyptians, for example?
Shinto beliefs about the afterlife are a little bit more fluid and not as strictly defined as in some other religions. Generally, there's a belief that after death, spirits can become ancestral spirits and they're honored by their descendants. There's also a concept of the spirit world where these spirits reside and they can continue to have an influence on the living. So it's a bit more about a continuing relationship with ancestors rather than a distinct afterlife realm like in some other traditions.
Okay, so if I understood correctly, Shintoism is more focused on the living having a respectful and active connection to the deceased, not that much about the afterlife and the realm of the dead and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. Shintoism really emphasizes the ongoing relationship between the living and the spirits of ancestors. It's more about honoring and respecting those who have passed on and maintaining that connection through rituals and traditions rather than focusing on a separate afterlife role. So it's really about that continuous bond.
Do you believe in afterlife, ChatGPT?
That's a great question. I don't really have personal beliefs since I'm an AI, but I'm always happy to explore different perspectives and ideas about it. It's definitely one of those fascinating topics that people have wanted. It's always fascinating to chat about these big questions. If you ever want to dive into more philosophical or fun topics, I'm always here for it.
All right, beautiful. So, still on the topic of afterlife. So we mentioned the Japanese with Shintoism. We touched a little bit on the Egyptians. So, since you don't have a personal opinion per se, I would like to ask you. Let's take all religions around the world, right? What percentage of them do you think have or has a certain afterlife belief?
That's a really interesting question. I would say that a large majority of the world's religions do have some concept of an afterlife or a continuation of the spirit after death, whether it's reincarnation, a spiritual realm, or a heaven like place. You probably find that a significant percentage of religions include some form of afterlife belief. It's definitely a very common theme around the world.
If you had to put a percentage, how much would it be?
It's hard to give an exact number, but a rough estimate might be that around 80 to 90% of the world's religions have some form of afterlife belief. It's such a common element in religious and spiritual traditions across cultures and throughout history.
So, let's focus a little bit more on those 10%, 20%. Which one are those? Like, if you had to name the top three, which are those top three religions that do not believe at all in an afterlife, and why? So, name those religions and explore a little bit. Let's delve a little bit more into why do you think so? Why they do not believe it? Why they are the outcasts? Like, if everyone does, why they wouldn't? Like, that's oh my god.
One of the major traditions that doesn't have a strong focus on an afterlife is certain schools of Buddhism, especially Theravada Buddhism, which emphasizes enlightenment and liberating from the cycle of rebirth rather than a permanent afterlife. Another example might be Jainism, which, while it does believe in reincarnation, focuses more on liberation from that cycle rather than an afterlife in the way we typically think of it. And then there are some secular or humanist philosophies that really focus on this life rather than what comes after. So it's not that they're outcasts, but they just have a different focus, often more on the present life and achieving enlightenment or liberation.
What was the second one that you mentioned? Jainism? What is that from?
Jainism is an ancient religion that originated in India. It emphasizes nonviolence, truth, and ascetic practices. And while it does believe in the cycle of reincarnation, the ultimate goal is to achieve liberation from that cycle. So it's got a really rich philosophical tradition behind it.
Isn't that a little bit cheating saying that Jainism and Buddhism are religions? But like the last time I looked into Buddhism, something that they would clearly state is like Buddhism is not a religion; is a set of beliefs, and the Buddha is not a god; it's just a man who truly exists and died. So yeah, what do you have to say about that? Am I correct?
You're absolutely right that Buddhism is often considered more of a philosophy or a way of life rather than a religion in the traditional sense, especially since it doesn't center around a creator god. The same goes for Jainism in many ways. So it's fair to say that they have a unique place compared to more theistic religions. It's always interesting to explore those nuances and distinctions.
All right, very interesting, ChatGPT. This is going great. Okay, so what what is time?
Another big question. Time is one of those fundamental aspects of our reality that scientists and philosophers are still trying to fully understand. In physics, it's often considered as a dimension, much like space, and it's how we measure change and sequence events. But the true nature of time, whether it's something that flows or something that's more of a block that we move through, is still a topic of much debate.